Welcome back to No Sleep Teal on the Reier on YouTube channel. Travis Reier back with you on a Sunday following the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-7 win over the visiting Tampa Bay Bucs. It was a busy week for these two teams. Of course, they got together Wednesday and Thursday for joint practices in Duval and then wrapped things up with a preseason game on Saturday night. Now, not much in the way of starters for either team in the game Saturday night, but still a lot to take away in terms of finalizing both of these rosters. Of course, we're going to be much more specific about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll move throughout a package that's provided to us by the National Football League from the game. We'll go ahead and pull that up right now. There you go. We're going to crank it up with the Bucs having the football at their own 29-yard line. This is going to be a give from backup quarterback Kyle Trask to his running back. This is Irving on the zone. He's going to cut it back. And what you see here early on is Jags got a couple of guys that looks like in the same gap, and the cutback lane is pretty clean. You know, Ventrell Miller gets there. It's got to be tough for Ventrell with that club on that left hand to play that kind of position, but he's able to get enough of Irving to keep it to about a gain of 5 or 6 yards, a little too much, more than you would like. And then the Bucs kind of stick with it. Here's a straight give to Irving right up the gut. You're going to have a wall-off block up here up top. The tight end, 41 for Tampa Bay, is able to get that job done. That creates enough of a seam. You see Ventrell inside here. You got another block, it looks like right there on, Christian Braswell. And then eventually you're going to get the tackle made by Arroyo, the corner, number 27. So Bucs moving it a little bit early. Nothing explosive, but just kind of those death by 1,000 cuts sort of runs that can become frustrating if they continue to accumulate. And it is a 2nd and 10 from the Tampa Bay 40 for Trask now. He's going to give one more time to Irving. This is a nice shuffle cut right here because Jags kind of have this thing bunched up right here, between the tackles. You see Ventrell, this becomes almost a one-on-one drill at this point between the back and Ventrell Miller, but you get an offensive lineman who's able to come off and get Ventrell. Here comes Christian Braswell in support, forces it back inside, and boy, there is Terrell Edmunds again. After bringing the hit stick a couple of times against the Chiefs last week, here it is to Irving early on Saturday night. Edmunds, again, very comfortable in that sort of downhill mode from the safety position. So Jags ultimately get the football deep on their own end. There's Mac Jones getting the start, expected to play a half or so on Saturday night. As we would come to find out, that would require more from Mac than previously expected. But Mac working from the gun, 2x2 set here, and he's going to take it early, and he's got some easy money up to the top of the screen. He's got Parker Washington on Tyke Smith, the safety sub-package role defender for the Bucs. Go ahead and take those 6 or 7 yards right here to Parker Washington. When you're working also from deep in your own end, that's good to see Parker get going early, especially after the big week he had against the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's really starting to put one good performance on top of the other as a second-year player. So now you've got a bunch formation out here to the field. Mac under center. He's got Tank Bigsby on a toss here. This is more of that pin and pull type of stuff we talked about last week when we highlighted it more so with Jalen Jackson. But you see your down blocks here. And this is a tough one, as we'll show you, because you're asking Brian Thomas Jr. right in here at about the 20 or about the 17. You can see Brian. He's taking on a defensive end outside linebacker in Chris Braswell, who goes 250 plus. So he's trying to get a block, but you do have some guys out here on the edge, DeGuara, the tight end. And then watch Anton Harrison, the big tackle right here at about the 16 as he works up the field. He's going to get a twofer in terms of throwing guys out of the club. There's one and there's two. And give Bigsby a lot of credit. Been a great preseason for the second year back out of Auburn. Continues to show you an ability to finish runs in a very positive manner. Look at him go ahead and kind of lay out there and turn a run that looked like it was going to go for a very minimal gain into a run that can move the chains. And again, tough ask right there of Brian Thomas Jr., but you did have some guys out on the edge do some pretty good work. Also good to see Ezra Cleveland able to go to start this game anyway. He's obviously been dealing with the effects of a heel injury. Harrison back out there. So a couple of the starters that you wanted to see that had been slowed earlier in camp, able to give you something positive early. And so with that, it is a 1st and 10 for the Jags from their own 22-yard line. Mack under center once again, going to give it to Tank Bigsby. Tank with that very decisive cutback that's been a common theme for him during this preseason. I thought this was some pretty good work by the tight ends, DeGuara and Brenton Strange. Bucs had this pretty well accounted for to the play side, but when Tank makes the cutback, you can see right there, DeGuara gets just a little bit, Strange gets a little bit, and this is once again Tank Bigsby after contact, another 3 or 4 yards, turns a 3-yard gain into something more like 6 or 7. A little bit later, it is a 1st and 10 for the Jags out at their own 39-yard line. Similar formation once again. This time, going to run the other way. Anton Harrison off that right tackle. Here goes Tank. Look at the contact right here. Continues to work through it for a couple more yards. Nothing extraordinary, but you're playing the 2nd and 6s instead of 2nd and 8. And ultimately, that does make a difference. You get into a 3rd and 5 here. And you see the Bucs, they're going to bring 5. Here you see the 5-man pass rush coming for the Bucs. And Mack wants the middle of the field. And this is good stuff because by play design, you've got Brenton Strange working right up the middle, and he's able to get just enough of an obstruction in a legal way for Tyke Smith to help open up that middle. That's where Mack knows he wants to go with the football, especially with this 5-man pressure and understanding where the vacancy is likely to come from with the defense. He gets it to Parker Washington. This is just very efficient and effective quarterback play. Washington going to move the chains for the Jags. Buccaneers end up with the football deep on their own end. This time, Trask going to give once again, and here comes that bounce from Irving. Ventrell Miller, once again, with that club on that left hand. You can see it's difficult to make tackles with that. Buster Brown in support. Here comes Antonio Johnson. It's another one of those 5 or 6 yard gains that the Bucs had early in this game. But again, sometimes pad level you didn't exactly like from some of your guys up front. Really, other than a run we'll show you coming up here a little bit later, kept the explosives to a minimum. Didn't see something along the lines of what we saw a week ago from Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs in the first quarter of that game. But it isn't an explosive play. And with that, the Bucs are going to play 2nd and 6 from their own 23-yard line. And it's Trask under center one more time. This is where you get schemed a little bit because when you bring this motion guy across and you see Jarian Jones on the 29-yard line, see him motioning with the motion guy, that is telling you it is man coverage. And so in man coverage, you play action hard with that motion coming across the formation. You see these linebackers get influenced just a little bit. And because you are in man, when you bring Palmer post-snap, kind of in this scissors action across the formation, now Buster Brown has got to try to work through this flow of his own linebackers who are being impacted by that play action. So good play design, and you're going to see what happens right here. Ventrell Miller sees it, but he is just a little bit inside because of that tight end. And now for Trask, it's an easy throw and catch to Palmer. Brown hustling as best he can to limit the damage, and that's about what you're going to do there defensively when they get you in that look. Now a 2nd and 10 for the Bucs from their own 32-yard line. Shotgun for Trask. 4-man pass rush for the Jags. Here you see the little crosser. Zone coverage from the Jags. There's Jarian Jones. Here comes Chad Muma. Nice job by Muma to limit this thing. Keep it in a 3rd and long. That's about a 3-yard pickup. And against that kind of coverage, that's essentially what you're looking to do. force a 3rd and long, give yourself a chance to get off the field. That's what the Jags did. And so we get a little bit later in the first quarter now. It is 1st and 10 for the Jags from their own 25. Mack in the shotgun, trips out to the field. Mack's going to take this thing, and it is nowhere fast because the pass rush was a problem a couple of different ways. Inside, Tyler Shatley at the left guard position had a problem there. And then Cole Van Lannon at the right tackle position was giving up some power rush there to Chris Braswell. So really kind of like one of those 100-foot waves in Portugal. If you've ever seen that, a quick plug for a 100-foot wave. But this is essentially what you got to do if you're Mac in this situation. You've got to protect the football and protect yourself because it's not going to happen right there. So Mac now on a 3rd and 15 from the shotgun, 2x2 condensed set. This was one of 2 3rd and longs in the first half where Mac and this offense absolutely stunned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll see it the first time right here. It's one of those situations when you watch a lot of NFL these days, you're thinking, okay, check it down right here to Bigsby, punt the football, don't try to force anything. But Mac's going to go for the change right here. He gets good protection, as we should note. Bucs tried to work a game. Cooper Hodges in pretty good shape. Cole Van Lannon in pretty good shape. Javon Foster okay out there at left tackle. He sort of broke down as the game wore on, it seemed. But Mac rips one in the middle of the field right there to Devin Duvernay. Puts that ball exactly where he has to because he's got numbers in terms of coverage to the face side of Duvernay. So he needed to kind of back shoulder that one and almost sit Duvernay down to keep him from running into the coverage, and he does it right at the sticks. That's a veteran play, too, by Duvernay. He got exactly where he needed to be. Under center, out at his own 30-yard line. He's got Tank behind him. Mac off a little bit of play action. And here comes pressure once again. Now, part of this is by design because you're setting up a little screen out here to the right to Tank. And you've got Luke Fortner in pretty good shape. Cooper Hodges in pretty good shape. Fortner gets enough of his guy. Hodges doesn't get his guy. But again, Tank gets another 3 or 4 yards after contact. That's a quality first down rep for the Jaguar offense. We move into the early stages of the second quarter now. It's a 1st and 10 for the Jags. Mac sees he's got a really soft corner out here to the bottom of the screen. And if you're open, Mac will get you the football, as Tank Bigsby will attest to right here. Easy money. Once again, you're going to take this. And look at Tank. He's not looking to get out of bounds. What I really like about that, did you see how Tank covered that thing up with contact? That continues to be a little bit of a concern, not just for Tank, but young players in general. I would say even the case with Parker Washington too. But Tank with a nice job of ball security there and turning his shoulders upfield and getting what is there on the play. Mac now on a 1st and 10 from the Bucs 44-yard line, going to go hard play action. Checks it down here to Dearness Johnson. Dearness going to turn it up. And again, another 8 or 9 yard pickup. And I want to show you something up here too. And you're wondering about some of these soft areas. You see this guy at the top of the screen, right on the NFL logo on the field. What's that number? Yeah, that's Brian Thomas Jr. You know what that guy can help you do? Especially after a week in which he took the top off the Buccaneers defense multiple times. He can help you create space on simple plays like a check down or a flat route to a back like that one to Dearness Johnson. Mac working from the gun one more time. And this is a simulated pressure at the snap that turns into a 5-man pressure post-snap, because you'll see Bigsby step up here, right here at about the 47 to pick up this linebacker. It's still only 4 guys at this point, but look right behind it at about the 42. That is a defensive back coming for the Bucs a little bit late. Shatley sees it, but he can't get there. So Mac makes it all good. He accounts for that blitzer by moving to his right, and look at this throw right here to Brian Thomas Jr. And again, cushion, cushion for Brian Thomas Jr. to break it off and have some room to work back to his quarterback. Couple of things you like there. Your young receiver understanding the situation. And again, also that speed helping to create some cushion for him when you're trying to move the sticks on 3rd and 8. A few plays later, it's my favorite play in football. The quarterback sneak from under center on 4th and 1. And even better, silent quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. I don't want first sound. I don't want a cadence. I want the quarterback to go up there, tap the center. Let's go get this first down, especially when our center isn't covered, which he isn't right here. And that's what Mac's able to do. Takes the snap. Easy first down for the Jags, and they keep this thing moving here with 9:30 left in the second quarter. Mac on 2nd and 8 against a 4-man pass rush. Now, right here, this probably isn't Mac's best navigation of a pocket. He wants to look to his left, and it looks like he either stumbled or maybe gave up on his protection a little bit early. Now, if you look at the back end, the Bucs have got this pretty well plastered up. They got the back in the flat. They got DeGora underneath. They pretty much have this bracketed in here. You know, you got Tyke Smith on Parker Washington, who's sitting down at about the 11. Mac may have been thinking too, hey, you know, like I did earlier against a 5-man pressure, when I got outside the pocket, I was able to make something happen. So he looks to go left, and when he does, it doesn't work out so well. But again, Bucs caused a lot of that, probably with a couple of different things. First of all, they had it covered well. And then also they had shown some different pressures really earlier in the game that may have caught Mac a little bit sped up. So here's another one of those 3rd and longs. Remember we talked about 3rd and 15 in the first quarter, and you're thinking, Jags are kind of backed up. Mac may check this down to Bigsby, get what he can get, bring out Logan Cook. Let's punt the football, put the defense back on the field. Didn't happen that time, and it didn't happen on this 3rd and 17 either. And again, I think this is another instance where Brian Thomas Jr.'s explosiveness helped another aspect of the Jaguar passing game, another player or two in the Jaguar passing game. You can see it right here pre-snap. Brian Thomas Jr. is split out wide to the field. You got Parker Washington working in here in the slot. You've got, I believe that's DeGora flexed out or right there as a sort of 3-by-1 set for the Jags out there to the field. And Mac's going to take this snap, and you'll see it as it progresses here. Look at the top of the screen where you see Brian Thomas Jr. with the outside release, and that's going to help create some space because you've got a safety right here. See him on the numbers on the top left of the screen? He's got to respect that potential. See Thomas already running by the corner there? And then also with DeGora hitching it up right here, this catches this linebacker's vision just enough to get him to hold up. And that also helps create some space right in here. And Mac on time before Washington really took this thing to the post, gets rid of the football. It is a perfect throw between the safeties, and that is a Jaguar touchdown. First of the night, first of 2 for Mac Jones. And again, some different things to take into account there between the presence of Brian Thomas Jr., the anticipation of Mac Jones. Protection was good enough. Nice route and a nice finish by Parker Washington there for the touchdown. So the ensuing kickoff, you want to know how you make a team if you're a 6th or 7th wide receiver and it's getting late here in the preseason. It's getting late early, it already seems like. Well, this is how you do it because this has the look of an explosive play right here. Tucker for the Bucs. He's going to bounce it outside here. We'll see him do this on a run play coming up a little bit later too. And as we've talked about, and as I'm sure you've heard from others, as it relates to this new dynamic kickoff, it is a lot like a zone run play. And so this fits these guys, these running backs pretty well. Tucker's going to bounce it outside, but give Elijah Cooks 14 a lot of credit. Doesn't lose leverage over there. Helps finish the play with Gary Brightwell, the reserve running back. And it's not great to get the ball out at the 32, but that had the look potentially of being something more than that. And again, that's how a guy like Cooks, if he is that 7th wide receiver or somewhere at the bottom of that rotation and he makes the 53 man, that's how it's going to happen. So Trask from under center now, about midway through the second quarter from his own 32-yard line, going to send in guy in motion. This is going to be a jet sweep against man coverage to the outside, and you'll see it right here. And so when you run off the corner, Campbell down here, you're running him into your nickelback, Christian Braswell, which helps soften up that edge. And now you've got Andrew Parker trying to get over the top against a wide receiver at full stride. And that's going to be a positive pickup in just about every instance for an offense. Man, this turned into kind of the Cody Thompson, Austin Trammell game, didn't it? The two wide receivers, Thompson for the Bucs and Trammell for the Jags, but Thompson with a chunk play there on a first down for the Buccaneers. Trask from under center. He's going to run it again with Tucker. And this is what we were talking about just a minute ago on the kickoff return by 44. He's going to look to stretch this thing to the edge. Jags are in pretty good shape. I like Campbell here keeping that outside shoulder clean on the edge. Got him walled off a little bit here to the inside, but you got the backer coming over the top. Here's where the problem comes in. You're running so hard to get there. I don't know really why Tucker stopped. He had probably 5 or 6 yards if he stays to his right here. But I think we're about to find out why he stopped, because he stops on a dime and cuts it back. And the problem for the Jags now, when he does that, look at your backside end, your backside edge, DJ Coleman. Look at where he's at. Look at where really you've got 8 guys, I think, right now, inside this hash mark down to the boundary, and all this field up here now for Tucker to work with. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to cut it back, work up the field. Pretty good stuff from Trey Flowers here. See how he keeps that outside shoulder clean, at least force it back inside so the posse can get there and help clean it up. But that's what happens when you maybe overcommit and you don't have your backside defenders in the position they need to be to take care of business. This is going to be RPO from the Buccaneers. And this is another instance where the numbers look good for the Jags on the snap. Look at the numbers here if Trask gives it. Good shape right here. Problem is, Trask doesn't give it. It's RPO. He knows he's got the numbers he wants out here. He's got running off man coverage. He's got a blocker to come down on this backer. And then he's going to have a one-on-one with a 240-pound tight end and about a 195-pound defensive back. And he's going to get it to this tight end in the flat on the move. Good enough block there on Parker. Here comes Braswell. But again, this is a tight end moving north and south and going to be an explosive play for the Bucs down inside the Jaguar 10. 2nd and goal for the Bucs. This is pretty good stuff, I'd say, from Flowers in man coverage. He's such an intriguing player at 6'3". And you think about positional versatility and the different things you can do with a guy like that, whether it's corner, whether it's safety, whether it's sub package, but going to try to run the corner route on him right here. Trask knows where he wants to go. In phase, doing a nice job. You still hold your breath up here a little bit when you see hands like this, but it's not going to go called, and it really shouldn't have. Flowers was right where he needed to be, didn't panic. That's a nice play by a 6'3" corner at the corner position in Trey Flowers. So now you play 3rd and goal from the Jaguar 6. And you got this little very popular bunch formation that you'll see in the NFL and really across college football these days as well. But Trask in the gun, and I'm going to stop it here about right here. And if I told you right here, this was going to go for a Bucs touchdown, you probably would have a hard time believing me. But watch what happens. DJ Coleman with some pretty good pass rush off the edge, but Trask, to his credit, is able to escape it and move out to his right. And now in the end zone, though, you're still in pretty good shape at the goal line and into the end zone on the back end for the Jags. You got the back out here. You're plastered up pretty good right here with Caleb Johnson. You got Andrew Parker. But when Parker comes up right here, now you are pretty much in man coverage with a wide receiver and an inside linebacker. And if Parker isn't going to get there, Trask is going to deliver to that wide receiver against that inside linebacker for a touchdown. So you give a lot of credit to Trask. Jags were in good shape for a lot of that play. It just goes to show if you can extend even a little bit as a quarterback in today's game, it can go a long, long way. Now, maybe in that scheme or in that concept, the Jags want the linebacker to come up. I didn't think he needed to sort of commit as early as he did because you were playing 3rd and goal from the 6, and Trask isn't exactly Lamar Jackson. But again, without knowing what the Jags had called there or what they want, hard to say in some ways. Either way, it is a Buccaneer touchdown, and the game is now tied at 7 apiece. Late in the second quarter, give the Jags defense some credit here. Got a stop, forced a punt, really gave the offense a couple of 2-minute opportunities. And right here, Mac does a very nice job, unlike what we saw a little bit earlier, where he had his issues a little bit in the pocket on one play. Look at him work up into the clean air in the pocket and then just deliver a fastball. And unfortunately for Elijah Cooks, he could not come up with it. And we had just talked about Cooks in terms of his special teams abilities. We saw it again on Saturday night in that regard. I think Cooks in camp in general has been really, really solid throughout, but this is a play, no doubt, he feels like even today, why didn't I come up with that football? Tight window, and that safety's coming downhill, but certainly one I think that Elijah would tell you I got to come up with as a pro receiver. So Mac now in 2nd and 10, and you'll see this to the top of the screen. 4-man pass rush for the Bucs, a little bit of early heat, but you sit it down with your top receiver, and then you run this. Look at this corner route or this deep out cut to Austin Trammell. Ball is out right now. And look at Trammell at the first down line just now making his cut. Ball's been out. On the money, Trammell makes the grab, and he gets himself out of bounds around the 35. And so with 24 seconds and with a kicker like Cam Little, you're already very comfortable with your field goal prospects to end the half. But hey, why not go get another chunk? And it's a concept kind of similar to what we saw on Trammell's catch just a second ago. He's working from the slot. He's got guys to his outside, a couple of guys this time. He runs that deep corner. You see Denzel Mims running the inbreaker. That impacts a couple of these guys. Yeah, look at these two guys. They're mine, yours at this point. And look at all that green space for Austin Trammell, who's going to take it down inside the 10 for a 1st and goal for the Jaguars with 9 seconds left. How many plays can you get out of that 9 seconds? We're able to only get one before bringing Cam on for the field goal attempt. This probably looks like the epitome of about a 6-inch putt to Cam Little with the leg strength he's got. He drills it. And so the Jags make good use of a second life in the 2-minute opportunity late in the half to take a 10-7 lead to the break. Third quarter, it is C.J. Beathard time behind center for the Jacksonville Jaguars, starting to mix and match with that offensive line a little bit. C.J. going to go out to Austin Trammell because why not? Austin on a heater right now does a nice job too after the catch here. Makes the grab for the easy pickup, but then turns it into an explosive play after he breaks a tackle. Now, I'm not sure Austin Trammell is going to be on a 53-man roster, whether it's the Jags or anywhere else to open the season. But between this type of tape and what you can also get out of him as a reliable punt return guy, I won't be surprised if Austin Trammell's on somebody's roster as you get into October and November. Injuries start to happen, ineffective play. You're always looking to upgrade. Hey, it could happen. That's all I'm saying. Little bit later, it's Cam Little once again, this time from 44 yards, and it's easy money once again for the 20-year-old from Woo Pig, Arkansas. How about that, splitting the sticks with ease? 4:02 left now in the third quarter. C.J. Beathard still in there. This is where things really started to get rough from a pass pro perspective, and we'll see it right here. Watch Javon Foster's footwork at this left tackle position. See this right here? This is not a good place to be when you're trying to pass set. And then watch this. split for the big man. Oof. That hurts just watching that. Look at that. And it's not good for CJ Beathard either, as he goes down pretty easily there to force a fourth down and a Jaguar punt. So now John Wolford in the game at quarterback, the Jacksonville native from Bishop Kenny High School, working under center for the Bucs. It's a 2nd and 1 from the Tampa Bay 29. Going to give it to Tucker right here. And here comes Parker right through an A gap. Did not hesitate, able to get there and make the tackle for loss. The young linebacker from Appalachian State with a negative play for the Jaguar defense. Here's CJ again a little bit later in the third quarter. 1st and 10 play from the Jaguar 26. A little bit of a play action look to Gary Brightwell in the game now at the running back position. And CJ never has a chance. And that's because Cooper Hodges, as we'll run it back here, right here, watch at the right guard position. This is just a straight up one-on-one. And I'm not a big guy on trying to guess in terms of blocking schemes and checks, and because things happen. You know, you get the wrong scheme, you get the wrong check. It's not always as cut and dry as it looks, but this looks a lot like almost a one-on-one rep that you'd see at a joint practice like on last Wednesday. And it's just a tough look because that's an easy W for the Bucs for the sack there. And you just don't like to see that from a couple of different ways. Again, I've been more of the belief that the depth from the offensive line for the Jaguars is more of an issue than just say the starting 5. And again, I don't think the starting 5 are all headed to Canton, right, in an SUV at some point down the road. I don't see that. But I think more so depth is a concern when you start thinking about who is your swing guard center. Is it Tyler Shatley? Do you keep Luke Fortner as a pure center backup? Is it Cooper Hodges that you continue to try to develop? You've played him some at tackle. He can play guard, obviously. Walker Little is about the only certainty for me when it comes to depth for this Jacksonville Jaguar offensive line at this point. As far as interior guys, not exactly sure what to tell you. So now it's 3rd and 15, and CJ going to drop back one more time. It is a 5-man pressure from the Bucs. Give Brightwell some credit early on. He's got his pickup of the linebacker, but again, you're getting power rush into the face of Javon Foster right here. CJ, I don't blame him. He's not going to hang around too much to find out, but the problem is he's not exactly a 4-3 guy either once he leaves the pocket, and it's going to be pretty easy for the pack to catch up with him for another sack of CJ Beathard. Early in the fourth quarter now, and Wolford working from the gun. He's going to look out here to his left, but how about Breeland Speaks, the late ad off the street, the UFL Defensive Player of the Year? Nice little pass rush move here. It was subtle. He kind of went right, hesitation back inside, and you can see him right here. Clear path to Wolford, and he is going to get a sack back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A little bit of a payback for what was going on to poor CJ Beathard there in the third quarter. So Mac Jones back in the game now. And look, even before Saturday night, we were of the strong belief that Mac Jones was the clear number 2 on this roster. No disrespect to CJ Beathard. Still think CJ, even with his latest injury, and that's the biggest concern of anything at this point, is that the injuries at this point in his career are seemingly cropping up more and more. But CJ can be a backup for a lot of teams in the National Football League. Probably, or I would think would be, the number 3 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But Mac, not just that he's younger and maybe has a little more pop right now, but Mac has played a lot of football. I don't think you can discount all the experience, even if it wasn't largely great experience the last couple of years. And you think that this is like 2s and 3s that he's working with in this game for the most part. And you think about, though, what he's thinking. He's thinking, yeah, this isn't great, but I spent the last few years in New England with absolutely no support, and not just in terms of personnel, but it was like hold my beer and watch this mode for Bill Belichick as far as that offense went. Yeah, let's get Matt Trisha and Joe Judge involved, a couple of my pals. They really don't have any experience on offense, but hey, let's give them a shot, see what happens. Well, we saw what happened. So, in a number of ways, has to be totally refreshing to Mac Jones, not just to be in his hometown, but to be with personnel that he feels great about, to be with an offensive first head coach in Doug Peterson. And so, right here, you're going to run it. And this is Brightwell on a zone to the left. Pretty good stuff by Javon Foster at the left tackle position to create enough room for Brightwell to be able to cut this thing back, and some nice power by Brightwell. Some good blocking downfield by Cephas, or at least an attempt at it. And Brightwell, like Jalen Jackson a week ago, and really we didn't see as much of Jalen Jackson in the joint practices against the Bucs on Wednesday and Thursday, or in this game on Saturday night. He's had a really good camp, but Brightwell doing a nice job of finishing that run. Give Foster some credit. We don't want to pick on one guy throughout this review, but you like that pickup on a first down run for 12 yards, no doubt about that. 2nd and 9 for the Jags from their own 45. Mac in the gun. He's going to look down here, and this is a very nice ball to Cephas. And Cephas, he's at the sticks. I will give him credit. He ran it to the sticks, but in coming back, now he's about a half yard short. And you almost get the sense that right about here, he's making eye contact with the sticks and knowing that he wants to get there. It's 2nd and 9, though. Just go ahead and secure the catch. This isn't third down. This isn't a possession defining play. But for whatever reason, he's not able to hang on. And that's a play a guy on the bubble has to make. Come back a little later on a 3rd and 3 play from the Tampa Bay 31 for the Jaguar offense. Watch Brevin Easton as he moves to the bottom of the formation. And he's giving Mac an indication that he's got man coverage, because you've got this sub-package defender coming down, coming across with Easton. So right now, Mac knows he's got the slot fade if that's what he wants to go with, because he's going to sit it down. He's got his tight end out wide, going to sit it down with the tight end. It is man coverage. And right here, Easton, a little double move to the pylon, and he's open by about 5 yards. And great to see Brevin Easton with a big play. Again, another guy you're really not sure of at all in terms of making the final 53, but he gets some good tape. And I'll say this too. You stay after practices, you stay after training camp workouts the last couple weeks there at the Miller Electric Center. Brevin Easton is consistently out there after practice, day in and day out. And you know who has stayed out there with him when I've been there? Mac Jones. So it's great to see both those guys rewarded for their work together, their extra work post-practice. And so Easton able to get into the end zone there, and it is a 20-7 Jaguar lead. 4:29 left in the game. Buccaneers from their own 40. How about this for some pass rush? Otamiwu, number 90, going to get home. That was a really good job on that game, too, by the way. Ran a little bit of a twist inside. Try to get back to it right here so we can see it. You can see right here on the snap. Watch 90. He's on the bottom hash mark, basically. I think that's Mason Smith in there, too. Mason Smith does his job on this game, because watch him occupy right guard and center right here, the big man from LSU. See how he's got those two guys? And watch Otamiwu come around clean. And he's able to close on Wolford for the sack. So different things go into different plays, and it's not always just a one-man effort. A lot of times it's coordinated, and it's not just coordinated, it's then well executed, as was the case on that sack. 2nd and 4 for the Bucs. 1:16 left in the game. Trask back in there for Wolford. Wolford took a big shot later in this game, too, similar to what C.J. Beathard went through. Trask going to look out here. He's got a high-low work into the top of the screen. You see the tight end at the yard to make line there, the yellow line. He's got his tight end sitting it down, and this is Tavon Campbell, who's getting high-lowed a little bit with his eyes back to the quarterback. And over the top of that, there's that guy again. There's that man again, Cody Thompson, the Cody Thompson game. Mike Evans over there fired up about it. So that leads to a 2nd and 10 for the Bucs from the Jaguars 21 with just 58 seconds to go now. Gonna motion this thing back into more of a condensed 2-by-2 look for the Bucs. Trask gonna take the shotgun snap. He's gonna deliver in the middle of the field, and look at how close Trey Flowers is to getting a hand on that pass. Actually, Flowers, I want to say the play before this had a great shot at a pick and didn't come up with it. But at 6'3", this is what I'm talking about. You can play him out here, and then you can play him at one of these sub-package roles because that's Jarian Jones inside to go along with Trey Flowers. I want to say maybe Flowers was in the dime spot on this play, but this is a good ball to Cody Thompson again from Kyle Trask. You think Kyle Trask and Cody Thompson spend a lot of time together at practice and maybe even like Mac Jones and Brevin Easton after practice? Eric Hallett comes up with a hammer, but Thompson's able to hang on down inside the Jaguar 5. Again, had the coverage you wanted, just couldn't quite get there with Flowers at 6'3" in that length. This is the kind of play defensive linemen dream of. Here we are at the snap. Look at Tyler Lacey right there in the middle of the line of scrimmage. Just as clean as a whistle, unblocked. The big man from Oklahoma State with a tackle for loss. That's going to go for about a 5 or 6 yard loss back to the 8 or 9 yard line. And I think Andrew Parker was right behind him. So not accounted for. That's the way you like it. If you're Tyler Lacey, again, that's another area that's going to be very fascinating to watch when it comes to cut down and, you know, the pieces, the kind of pieces that they want to keep. They drafted 2 or 3, 4 guys here in the last year that you feel like they really like. Tyler Lacey among those, Miles Cole here most recently to go along with Jordan Jefferson, who I thought flashed at times on Saturday night, Mason Smith that we talked about. So how that plugs in with Eric Armstead and Roy Robertson Harris and Ledbetter and Devon Hamilton. I think they've got a good situation, a good problem to have when it comes to some decisions to be made from a depth perspective with this defensive line. 2nd and goal for the Bucs from the Jags 6 yard line. Trask in the gun one more time. He's got trips to the field and he's got time right here. But check this out. This is Breeland Speaks. So it turns into a 3-man pass rush because Speaks dropped back from end into a spy. And he does a nice job right here. He's under control. He's going to get his hands up. Trask is going to force something into triple coverage. Trey Prince right here could have ended the game with an interception. Goes off his hands, but interesting stuff with Breeland Speaks dropping into a spiral. So now it's a 3rd and goal from the Jaguar 6 for Trask and the Buccaneer offense. And this is a good one too, because Joe Gaziano was signed on Friday, literally the day before the game. The veteran from Northwestern, the pride of Boston, Massachusetts, Joey G. Watch Joe Gaziano right here, number 97, kind of like what we just saw with Breeland Speaks. He's going to drop out more as a coverage guy, but he checks the flat, it seems like, and then he says, oh, you know what? I'm going to go get Kyle Trask. So here comes 97, Joe Gaziano, a day into his Jaguar career. And why not go ahead and get your first sack while you're at it? What better way to sort of end this latest edition of Upon Review than with a sack by Joe Gaziano one day after he signs with the club? Hey, it's been a lot of fun. Hope you've taken something from it. Hope if you have, you will subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you get all of our content as it drops. Also, if you don't mind, how about a like? We would appreciate a thumbs up as well. Travis Reier, thanking you once again for joining us right here on No Sleep Teal on the Reier on YouTube channel. And until next time, so long, everybody.